Hello, my name is Arthur, and in this video we're going to look a little bit at some navigation. So I've come up with just a beginner start to building a decent navigation for the enemy units to help them be able to navigate obstacles and to do it sort of independently. So I've set up the scene, I've moved the player units away so that the two enemy units will just go about their business, and I've given the tank a path that will run it into some obstacles to be able to get to its first destination. So without any navigation, what would happen is the tank would run into the tent and just get stuck against it and not be able to figure out how to get to its destination. It would just keep banging into the tent. So we'll just run and we'll see what's going on. I set one of the players up so that the tank is down here in view. We can see it's turned around the tent. It will turn around the trees as well and adjust its course. And then it will turn again at this tree because that tree is in its way and adjust its course a third time. So it's made about 3 or 4 course corrections to be able to navigate the obstacles. So we'll just run the player down here and let the tank see him and then run behind the tent and see if the tank's able to continue to attack us. So we'll just go now. We'll see he turns at the tent. He's not getting stuck on it. He's navigating. We'll just run up here a little bit. See what he's able to do. We have a little bit of jitter on the turrets and stuff, but yeah. I'm not sure, perhaps the turrets need to be slowed down a little bit to help to clear that jittering up and give them a little bit of clearance. So we can see there that, like the tank navigated around the tent to get to its area, to its first destination. It was able to stay on top of the player unit even though the player unit ducked behind obstacles, went through obstacles. So the navigation does work, but it isn't perfect, and there is room for error and there's room for refining the idea. So this is just the basic idea as it started off, and I'll probably end up correcting it. The first thing that I needed for it to work was I needed a new type of flag. So I called it enemy nav flag, but it doesn't necessarily need to be an enemy flag. This flag would work for either the player or the enemy, and so would the navigation if I decide to put that type of navigation onto a player unit. The player units would gain the functionality. I'd still be able to set their destinations, but if I set a destination that had them encountering obstacles, I could give them the ability to drive around obstacles a bit. So in the case of the enemy, its flags don't delete itself normally. So an enemy flag for navigation is different than an enemy's typical flag. So this one is set so that when the enemy enters the body of its of a flag it owns, the flag will be deleted. And then the other difference is the navigation flag is calling a different function. So it calls a different function. It makes the call to the map. The map puts down the enemy flag, so it puts down a flag more like a player flag is planted, because a player flag is put in by being instanced by the map, and the navigation flag is being instanced in the same way. So it does all of the same things, and when it's being instanced by the map, and there's actually no difference there. The difference is in the flag itself. So when the flag gets set, it calls on the unit that owns it to set a temporary flag. And the temporary flag is kind of how it ends up working. So I've given a new variable. I just called it Navi for navigation. And when it sets a temporary flag, it just sets the Navi variable to being that one flag, because a navigation is only going to set one flag at a time. So it will take on that flag. Down in physics process, we have the unit flags, the temporary destination that can override the unit flags, and then now we have the Navi variable, which can override the other two and make the destination according to its position. So now the navigation variable will override the destination if it exists. When the flag is deleted, it returns this variable to null. So it acts like a true and false. If it has a body occupying that variable, it is true. If it has a null, it is false. So it just uses its global transform, and it functions the same way as any other flag or temporary destination does. The temporary destination, that's for enemy units, and the temporary destination is always a player unit. So we don't want to override this if the enemy unit is chasing a player unit. This is where the player unit is held in temp destination. So if there's a temp destination, but the enemy has to navigate to get to it, the navigation will take hold until that navigation point is reached, and then it will continue chasing around the player, basically. For the navigation itself, what it looks like is this. So we have the main navigation area. This is the area that's right in front of the vehicle. That area is looking for collisions. I've put all of the trees, anything that would act as an obstacle has been put into layer 10. So this area scans layer 10 looking for collisions. The only thing it will see is trees and tents, or if I have a building, buildings would have to be added to that layer to be seen as obstacles to vehicles for navigation purposes. So it will scan in this layer. If something enters the area, it sends a signal to the script. So when a body enters, what it will do is it will get all the children of the position nodes. What the children of the position nodes are the potential destinations that will set the navigation flag to. So each area going down the list is sort of working its way around the radius of the set of areas. So it will go down this list looking for the first one that's empty. So we just fill in the variable positions with the children of the positions node, which is all of the areas. It iterates through that index of that array to get overlapping bodies. If there is not an overlapping body, that means the area is empty, so it will choose it as the destination to set for the navigation flag, and then break out of the for loop. So once it finds an empty area, it will break out of the loop after setting the destination. That we've already covered. It calls this function. It will put down an enemy flag. It will tell the flag who its owner is. So it knows who its owner is. It will set the flag. It will tell the unit to set a temporary flag. And the unit will set in the navigation variable. So that's kind of in a nutshell how it works. How it could probably stand some improvement is it does have some room for area. So maybe the choice of using a box shape wasn't the best choice, because it does leave an area Whoops, I didn't intend to do that. It does leave an area where if the vehicle drove past a tree, for example, and the tree was right here, and trees were right here, and it chose this destination, there is room for error here where it's choosing a destination where there's actually an obstacle. So maybe the choice of a box shape wasn't the best choice, or maybe I just need to, well, I could look at doing something like a polygon and filling in the pie shape, make it more of a pie kind of shape, and just beginning at this collision shape as a polygon rather than as a box shape, and sort of make it like a pie shape, and then fill in the pie shape so that these areas are not left unchecked when the navigation is picking its next position to move towards. So far, I haven't had any issues with that, and that would really depend on how I built my map. But if I wanted more trees closer together and stuff like that, and I wanted the vehicle to be able to navigate a bunch of trees, so we could just bring the vehicle closer and see if there's a place we could demonstrate that a little bit. Say if the vehicle was somewhere like this, there's the chance of this tree being in the way, having him react to this tree, and then moved in the direction of this tree because he's unable to see it inside of this radius. So that's what I mean by this is just the first iteration of the idea, and I haven't refined it yet. And that's a suggestion for how something like this might get refined to possibly work a little bit better. So let's just move things back where they were. We'll run that one more time, have a look at how it works. I hope that I've explained its function, like how it works, well enough that it's understandable. It's difficult for me to make blow-by-blow videos making this kind of thing because it takes me a little bit of figuring it out. and yeah, videos of that length, of the length of time that it takes me to figure out how to get something like this to work, is not the kind of things that get very many views on YouTube. So I'm trying to present it in the way that is more palatable for people. So hopefully the explanation of how it works is clear, and I've managed to communicate an idea that may work for other people's navigation needs, to be able to manage a little bit of enemy navigation that's a little bit smarter than just getting stuck on every obstacle that's in its way. So we'll just swing around, see if he's managing to stay on us. He's not having much trouble adjusting his course. He did hit that tree there, so we can see that there is room for improvement in the idea. But the basic idea is solid and it does work. So that's it for this video. I hope that it was helpful to someone, and until the next video, take care.